Maintenance man here at Mr. Dog Poop Studios. We're back at the 1983 Yale forklift that just keeps giving. It needs so many repairs, it should have its own channel. In the last video, we replaced the evaporator and the regulator to get it running. But then we realized the cutoff switch wasn't working. So today, we're going to replace it. Step one, we need to disconnect the battery. Always disconnect the battery negative first. Why do we do negative first? Because if we do the positive and we're touching the body, we get electrocuted. If we disconnect the negative, then it's safe to disconnect the positive. Always negative first. So we're going to disconnect the negative cable, put that out of the way, and then now there's no connection between the negative and the body, we can disconnect the positive cable. And it's safe to touch this and this at the same time. Take the battery out of here because it's in our way. Now, we have an existing switch in here, so let me go ahead and pull that out. All right, so I put this switch on to keep the battery from discharging. The forklift sits for a long time, so making sure the battery is disconnected. Plus, we had an issue. The forklift was struck by lightning, and the starter started cranking over. Yep, until it burned out. All right. So I put this on years ago to disconnect the battery since we don't use it that often. Must be a way to get it off, right? So the lock nuts seemed like a good idea at the time, but here we are 10 years later, and it doesn't seem like such a great idea. Oh, that takes care of it. So you can see this is a pretty cheap switch. Put some nice cables on here. So we have a much more robust switch here. It's a lot more money. I think this is about $50, and I think these are about $20 or $30. This is much more robust. I think it's 4 times the capacity. And we're gonna put this in here. But as you can see, it doesn't fit. So we're gonna have to enlarge this hole. And this one actually just has something that screws into the top. Let's start by enlarging the hole. I've got a step bit that I picked up on Amazon for around $10. Goes up to 1 3/8. So these step bits are nice, and the way they work is if you get down to that step, that's how big it is. All right, now it fits. So I just made the hole bigger so that we could move it over this way, and now the whole thing fits in there. Before we put it in there, we're gonna connect our cables. Cables already are set up for bolts. This is our normal wire. This would normally be connected to the battery, but we're just adding in the switch so we can disconnect it. A lot of RVs, vehicles that you're not using a lot, you'll put this type of a switch on so you can disconnect the battery, so if something's left on, a radio or it's drawing electricity, it doesn't drain the battery sitting there. So that is garbage. Put the new one on, and I'm putting the lock nut against the cable because I want it to dig into that cable and give us a good connection. Up in here. This came with a mounting thing, so it already has a hole for it. So if you wanted to mount this in a car or an RV, you could mount it on something, and it comes with a plate already. We're not going to use that because we're mounting it direct to the body. On and off, a little washer. We're definitely going to need a big wrench to tighten that down. So you can use channel locks. Those will open up enough to go on there. Or you can use a big wrench if you have one. Problem with using a big wrench is you don't know how much pressure you're putting on it. Because it's so big, it's so easy to strip it. And maybe the channel locks are a better idea. Okay, so we've got our positive wire here. We're back up. It comes with 2 roll pins, but you only need 1, unless I'm missing something. That will just go in there, and we're gonna tap it through. So this lines itself up, and there's a hole right through there that this pin is going to go through. You could also put that in with a C-clamp, but do it that way. So that's on and that's off. It's bigger than we need. And again, you go backwards, hook up the positive first, because if we hook up the ground is connected to the body, and then we're working with the positive, and the positive touches the body, or your hand touches this and this, you are instantly electrocuted. So always put the positive on first, and then we hook up our negative last. And I caution about the battery, it is no joke, there's 1,000 amps. When we're welding, we're using 200, 300 amps to melt steel. 1,000 amps is no joke. Be careful when you're tightening. You put this across there, it'll melt that wrench in your hand. So it'd be better if we had a cover on that. We don't. So the video guy wants to know what would happen if you do connect them. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook, I've got a wire taped to a stick. The battery charger is off. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it, just use the thing here to connect it. And what happens if you touch it together? That instantly melted that wire, instantly. It didn't even stay on long enough. Can you imagine if that was your finger? Yeah, there's enough electricity there to kill you. Now, if I turn it off, there's no connection. So when I go to turn it, nothing. There's nothing there. But when we turn it on, it connects, and with any luck, it'll start. So if you want to install a battery switch, that's all there is to it. You're going to have a cable that goes to the battery. You may have to put a crimp on it. Watch our crimping videos and you can learn how to put those crimps on and make your own cables, but it's an easy project. One more video down, we'll catch you in the next one. Probably about the forklift.